I wasted 80 years learning something I should have understood much sooner. And the truth is, most people don't realize it either until time has already taken more than it gives back. For a long time, I thought life would slow down eventually, that one day there would be space to breathe, that I'd figure things out later. Later became a word I trusted. And that trust cost me more than I knew. If you're listening to this, there's a chance you feel it too, that quiet pressure in the background. The sense that time is moving faster than you expected, even though nothing around you seems to be changing. You wake up, do what needs to be done, tell yourself you'll focus on what matters when things calm down. But they never really do. No one tells you this clearly when you're young. Life doesn't announce when you're wasting it. There's no alarm, no sudden warning. It just quietly passes while you're busy being responsible or distracted or afraid to choose differently. For years, I believed I had time to say what mattered, time to take risks later, time to become the person I kept imagining I'd be someday. I told myself I was being patient. But patience slowly turned into postponement, and postponement became a habit. I watched days turn into routines, routines turn into years, and years turn into memories that felt thinner than they should have been. Not bad memories, just incomplete ones. The strange thing is, nothing was ever wrong enough to force change. Life was comfortable enough, predictable enough, and that's what made it dangerous. Comfort doesn't hurt loudly, it dulls quietly. I remember moments when I felt a pull to do something different. A thought I pushed away, a voice that said, "This matters." But I ignored it because it felt impractical or risky or selfish. I told myself I was doing the sensible thing. I was doing what people expected. I was doing what made sense. Years later, I realized something unsettling. Most of the decisions that shape your life don't feel important when you make them. They feel small, harmless, temporary. You don't notice their weight until time stacks them together. The truth I learned too late is this: life isn't lost in dramatic mistakes. It's lost in quiet compromises. Every time I chose convenience over meaning, I thought it was just for now. Every time I stayed silent instead of honest, I thought I was keeping the peace. Every time I delayed what mattered most, I thought I was being realistic. But those choices didn't disappear, they accumulated. At some point, you look back and realize you've been living on autopilot, not unhappy, just not fully alive. And that realization is heavy because you understand something at the same time. No one stopped you, no one forced you, you participated. That's a difficult thing to face. It's easier to blame circumstances, easier to blame timing, easier to believe you were unlucky, but deep down, you know there were moments you felt the truth and turned away from it. I spent years chasing the wrong questions. How do I get through this? How do I make this easier? How do I avoid discomfort? What I should have been asking was simpler and harder. What will I regret if I don't do it? Regret doesn't come from failing as much as it comes from not trying, from not speaking, from not choosing, from living carefully when life was asking for courage. The hardest realization didn't come all at once. It arrived slowly in ordinary moments, watching people I loved grow older, seeing opportunities close without drama, understanding that time doesn't need permission to move on. You assume there will be a clear moment when it's too late, but that moment rarely announces itself. It feels exactly like yesterday. Until one day, you realize the distance between who you are and who you wanted to be has grown wider than you imagined. The truth nobody tells you is that urgency isn't loud when it matters most. It whispers, it shows up as a quiet dissatisfaction you can't explain, a sense that something important is being postponed without a clear reason. I used to think motivation would come first, that clarity would arrive and then I'd act. But clarity often comes after action, not before it. Waiting to feel ready is one of the easiest ways to stay stuck. I wasted years thinking I needed more time when what I needed was honesty. Honesty about what mattered. Honesty about what I was avoiding. Honesty about the fact that comfort was costing me more than fear ever could. If I could say this to my younger self, I wouldn't give advice about success or happiness. I would say this: Pay attention to what you keep postponing. That's where your life is quietly slipping away. The things you keep delaying aren't random. They're usually the things that matter most. The conversation you don't want to have, the path you're afraid to take, the version of yourself you keep promising you'll become one day. One day is a fragile promise. It breaks easily. And time doesn't care how sincere you were when you made it. I learned that living carefully doesn't protect you from regret. It often creates it. Because safety feels reasonable in the moment, but emptiness doesn't show up until later. The truth is, you don't need a dramatic transformation. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to stop ignoring what you already know. There's something in your life right now that you've been avoiding for a long time. You know exactly what it is. And it's not going away on its own. Time will keep moving whether you choose or not. And eventually, not choosing becomes its own decision. I wasted 80 years learning this one hard truth. The cost of waiting is almost always higher than the cost of trying. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Pay attention to the quiet moments that feel slightly uncomfortable. They're often pointing you toward the life you'll wish you had chosen sooner. Before time runs out.